From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. Let's start off with your weather headlines. We got a lot to unpack here. First of all, that wet weather pattern has finally arrived. But I want you to be prepared for chain requirements. We do have some out there here this morning. We had some this morning. We'll most likely have them through the afternoon, especially east of I-5. Now, there is a flood advisory for Sacramento Valley and the surrounding foothills. We'll get into that here a little bit later. And this unsettled weather pattern is going to stick around here, most likely through most of next week. All right, here's your neighborhood forecast at a quick glance here for today. It's wet. Yeah, you bet. You can see those snow levels, 3,000 to 4,500 feet, just depending on where you are. But yeah, anywhere you go, you're going to be dealing with some wet weather here through the rest of the day. Today, temperatures in the 30s, 40s, and even some 50s out there. Still have that high wind warning until 7 o'clock here this evening for central Siskiyou County, gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour. The biggest concern obviously going to be on I-5 here with some of the big rigs. You can see, of course, them kind of swaying in the wind there. Also, a wind advisory for northern Humboldt and into Del Norte County till 4 o'clock today. Seeing those wind gusts possibly upwards of 40 to 50 miles per hour. So taking through the rest of the afternoon, the winds will start to subside, and that's why that advisory should be allowed to expire for Del Norte and Humboldt counties, but still very gusty for central and even eastern Siskiyou County. Winds still pretty gusty and breezy, if you will. Borderline windy, depending on how you look at it, for parts of the valley and, of course, off to the east as well. For your Saturday, really where we're going to see those winds focused is mainly east of the valley here. It's still going to be a little breezy in other spots here, but especially in Plumas County, some of the foothills and eastern mountains. See that? I mean, as we're going to Saturday, 5 p.m., it's mainly in Plumas County to the south of that. And then you can see they pick up again here for Sunday afternoon and maybe the Warner Mountains out in Modoc County, seeing some of that. But I mean, look at the winds. I mean, they seem to be centralized over parts of Plumas County, but it kind of extend northward, looks like a little bit into Susanville as well. Not as bad elsewhere though, but still a little breezy in some spots here. All right, let's talk about the winter weather now. There's winter weather warnings, watches, advisories, all of these expiring at different times. And I got to tell you, this just morphs. It just changes on a regular basis based on the storm system. But bottom line, we've got snow out there. And we take a look at some of the forecast snow totals. Potentially, I think most of the snow from Mount Shasta City will be today, tonight, and into tomorrow morning. And as you can see, it's not going to be a ton, but you could pick up a few inches there. And really, we're looking borderline, maybe a mix out towards Bernie, maybe a mix in Shingletown at 3,500 feet. Obviously, as you start heading east of Shingletown in the higher elevations, better chances for some accumulating snow as you start getting closer to Viola, for example. Maybe 1 to 3 inches in Chester, and a dusting here or there, places like Alturas, Susanville, Quincy, and Portola. I don't expect any west, at least in the lower communities like Weaverville or Hayfork, but obviously some of those higher elevations in Trinity County, western Siskiyou County, yes, you're seeing some of that snow. Now, most of the snow that we see at the ski park will once again be today and even for parts of tomorrow. And then it looks like there you can see upwards of 1 to 2 feet of snow at the base of the ski park, and at the summit of the ski park, you're getting close to 30 inches of snow. Now, of course, we're talking about those chain requirements. Really cool resource I've made for you at weathernorcal.com is you go to weathernorcal.com, click on the road conditions section, and I've taken all of the more popular cameras at Caltrans, and at a quick glance, you can take a look at each highway and see what it looks like out there, once again, at a very quick glance. So check it out. It's just a great resource. You can check it out on weathernorcal.com on a desktop or from your phone or even from the app. It's a great thing to check out. All right, so there you can see the atmospheric river has pretty much made its way here. You can clearly see all that subtropical moisture just aimed right at Northern California. This is the first storm moving in today, the second series of storms coming in here as we take you into your Saturday and Sunday. All right, so here it is, the atmospheric river. Now, I actually had someone who made a comment on Facebook this morning and said, why are all storms called atmospheric rivers now? Well, they're not, number one. And number two, an atmospheric river is not a storm. And the reason I bring up atmospheric rivers is because it's part of the weather story. And that's what I do, is I tell you the weather story. So we have a series of storms heading our way. these storms need moisture in order for us to see any rain or snow for that matter. Where's that moisture source coming from? Right here. It's an atmospheric river. It's defined as a narrow column of moisture that's aimed right at Northern California. All right, so that's just kind of getting that out of the way. All right, number two, I really want to point out where this atmospheric river is pointed, because it's really important to take note where it is and understand where it is. Because again, we talk about the narrow column, right? And there it is. North of that, it's dry. South of that, it's drier, but you can still see a little bit of moisture there. But this is the main band of moisture right here. Notice where it's mostly pointed, the Bay Area, Sacramento. Now, we are within the column of moisture, but it does quickly go to dry weather or dry conditions here as you go into places like Del Norte County, Siskiyou County, northern Humboldt County, but it looks like we're still seeing some of that off into parts of Modoc County. But Siskiyou County, Del Norte, looking at drier conditions out of this. Because take a look at in the next 24 hours after this. It barely moves, right? Yeah, it kind of goes up a little bit, then back down. It'll kind of do this a little bit here over 24 hours, but you get the idea. It's still pointed on Sunday, mainly at the Bay Area and Sacramento. But another thing you'll notice here, we're not seeing as much moisture within this atmospheric river, so as a result, we may see the amount of rainfall begin to drop a little bit here and becoming more showery, if you will, rather than just that steady rainfall. Now, take a look at Monday. Some cold air right here, area of low pressure diving to the south. As it does that, what that will do is it'll take it from this, and then once this comes down, it causes it to tilt back up. So now we have an even weaker atmospheric river, but still it's pointed now more towards us. So I do expect another round of some rain coming in on Monday. Then, as this colder air dives to the south, it'll push the atmospheric river to the south and weaken really. And so really, we're still seeing a chance for rain, and we've got a series of weaker storms pushing through on Wednesday, Thursday, and possibly even Friday, right? But they're not tapping into an atmospheric river moisture. But there's going to be some moisture for it to tap into. And by the way, this is a colder source coming down. That's going to mean lower snow levels as we go into Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday even. You're talking snow levels possibly as low as 2,000 feet. That could mean places like Weaverville, Hayfork, maybe seeing some snow. So this helps to illustrate the strength of the atmospheric river. So, we're talking about atmospheric rivers, the narrow column, right? There's more to it. How strong is that atmospheric river? Atmospheric river 1 category is weak, but that's the strongest. We're nowhere near the strongest, right? In fact, we're all mainly within the blue category here, barely kind of touching the green a little bit here, meaning once we get up to atmospheric river 2, there is the potential for maybe some minor flooding, maybe some mudslides, debris flows, and that's why we do have, of course, the flood advisory, and there is a little bit of that concern. I also wanted to show you to the south, the Bay Area. Remember I was showing it was pointing more towards the Bay Area and Sacramento. Look at that. They're within AR2 and even AR3. So the potential for flooding for our neighbors to the south are even greater, unfortunately. And then you can see it kind of weakens a little bit and then really kind of tapers off once that atmospheric river shifts to the south by next week. So again, as a result, the National Weather Service has issued a flood watch for us. But as I said, I think we'll see rain and potential for some minor flooding as a result. But I do think that we're going to see the bigger impacts for our neighbors to the south out towards Sacramento and the Bay Area. So here we are the rest of the day today. We are seeing scattered showers, periods of moderate to heavy rainfall, otherwise showers here throughout the day. We've got snow levels probably climbing from 3,000 to 4,000 to about 3,500 to 4,500 feet. All right, now we take you into Saturday. This is tonight, into early Saturday morning. We might see a little bit of a break, but now that the air is very saturated, it's going to be kind of just drizzly out there, overcast. And then the next batch of moisture comes on in. So remember when I was showing you the atmospheric river, you see the cutoff of wet weather, dry weather. Look at Crescent City. Look at Del Norte County. Look as we go through the morning on Saturday. Look where that cutoff goes now. for parts of Siskiyou, Del Norte, northern Humboldt. Everywhere else is seeing the rain. Let's take you into Saturday afternoon. Now most of Siskiyou and Del Norte, northern Humboldt, dry, northwestern Modoc dry, rain and snow. Now look what happens. See how it doesn't change much? It kind of just fluctuates a little bit here and there. And remember, I was saying that the atmospheric river gets a little bit weaker on Sunday, so the rain won't be quite as heavy. However, you can see here, we're getting a bit of that orographic influence, right? The wind's going up the mountains and then squeezing out that moisture. And look at all that rain coming in. Look at the snow, too. Now, Sunday, we're starting to see the influence of that colder air moving in. Snow levels are dropping, especially out towards northern Lassen and into Modoc County. But the influence of that warmer subtropical air is also mixing out the colder air for places like central and into Plumas County and southern Lassen County. So you have higher snow levels there as a result. But as you head north of that, colder air has moved in, and that's allowing those snow levels to drop. So a lot of little intricacies here that we're seeing here, and is not as heavy for parts of the valley. In fact, you can see a little bit of shadowing in the valley. It gets heavier to the west of the valley and then heavier to the east of the valley. So it's kind of just going up, then we see the shadow, then going back up again and the heavier rainfall and the heavier snow. That's through Sunday, 5 p.m. Again, you can see that cutoff of the atmospheric river. Dry, but wetter conditions to the south of that. Now, as I mentioned, and we saw that, this will all, on Monday, do this. And I think we'll fill in more of that rain and snow for places like Siskiyou County, Del Norte, and Humboldt County, seeing that as well. All right, let's take a look at how much snow or how much rain that is we can expect out of this. And yeah, about an inch for Redding, maybe 2 inches or more. So again, you had Redding, south of Redding, we should probably see more rain. You can kind of see where the bullseye is right here, and then to the south of that even more, heavier. And of course, there you can see we typically would see a lot more during these atmospheric river events for parts of the coast, but because they're missing out on a lot of the moisture, just not seeing as much as we typically see for the coast. All right, let's get to the forecast, shall we, for the rest of the day today. How about 50, upper 40s to about 50 in the valley, 30s, 40s for the higher elevations, and of course we've got those mid 50s for most of us along the coast. And looking at your 7-day outlook, starting off with the valley, there's the wet weather. Now again, that last batch of moisture coming in Monday, scattered showers for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we're going to see temperatures increase a bit because of the influence of that subtropical warmer air moving in, but then temperatures dropping again as colder air moves in for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now that's significant to take note because we're at 3,000, then 5,000 feet for Weaverville for Saturday, Sunday, 3,000 Monday, 2,000 feet. So again, Weaverville, Hayfork, potentially seeing some snow. All right, here's a look at Mount Shasta, right? 5,000 feet Saturday, Sunday, 3,500, but 2,000 feet. And for places like El Turris and also Susanville. So yeah, things getting interesting as we go through next week. Don't quite have the atmospheric river, don't quite see as much rain and snow, but it's going to be out there nonetheless with scattered showers. And much cooler too, only reaching highs in the low to mid 30s toward the middle and latter part of next week. Well, that's your afternoon update. I'll be back again this evening at 6. Have a great afternoon.
Wiggly mouth.
Woggy mouth.
No.
Painting.
Wiggy mouth.
It's Woogie Moth painting.
It's Wogamoth painting, and yes, we'll paint anything.